What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 8 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Hellbeard Immortal Empires campaign. Though admittedly we haven't seen Hellbeard himself for a while, but he'll be back soon. Hopefully not to immediately get wounded again, but we'll see. You gotta risk it and all that to get that Helm of Dreska trait. But anyway, as we saw last time, we declared war upon the Awakened of the Vampire Coast, taking on Luther Harkin and defeating him and his various armies, and pretty much crippling the faction, leaving them with a small sliver of balance of power remaining. We are still, however, at war with both Khorne and with Slaanesh, and will continue prosecuting the war against them, while hopefully maintaining friendliness with the Jade Court, and hopefully soon acquiring the first of our allied units. In terms of what we gotta do this particular turn, I do believe we're, if not quite at the end of the turn, very close to it. I would like to see what we got in terms of building, however. We could use more raw materials, pretty much always could use more raw materials, and we're switching to different commandment here. Here we are fine as we are, at least while the main building is being constructed. This place will need that mine shaft. I'm almost tempted to rush the mine shaft, but what's our labor at here? Oh, actually, speaking of, the labor is okay, but it's actually not so great. The Piranha Swamps labor is fine for now, but it probably won't be that forever. And I suppose we could also bump up the set to an example to max it out again. It will get maxed out very quickly at this rate. Wait, where is Piranha Swamps again? This is Mosquito Swamps. Oh, why is everything something swamps? Piranha Swamps are main territory. Okay, no, I didn't. Admittedly, I should have remembered that one. That's my bad. Yeah, your public order will need fixing, but you know what? Let's leave it as it is for another couple of turns. Let it drop a little bit more while we're in Masterful Architects, and then switch it up. So we're good there. Oh wow, we have, I'd actually be able to upgrade you next turn if we wanted to. Up to a tier 4 tower. That might be nice. We are gaining all those raw materials, so we should probably put them to use. But anyway, in the meantime, let us, I guess, end the turn and see our fight against Mr. Well, not Skulltaker, but the remnants of his faction. Actually, you know what? I've been thinking, I'm going to switch the other Trickster Shard to you. You can hold on to the Dwemer Leech Orb for now as well. You instead, I think we will go for the Potion of Healing. I'd like for you to be able to actually fight, and the Crown of Skulls is not enough, and eventually, like I said, I wanted to switch you to the Chalice of Blood and Darkness, so you'll need healing. For now, though, keep hold of that ward save. Frankly, the Fire Breath out of this is kind of garbage, so I think maybe we'll go for Talisman of Preservation on you to increase that ward save further. And the Fire Breathy thing, do we have any Demonsmith Sorcerer of Fire? I think we have 2, and they're both metal because of the traits that we got on them, aren't they? What do you have? You're Extravagant. Oh, right. Well, we had to go for Extravagant here. You have the other Trickster Shard for now. Yeah, I want to put this into a Fire-led army, so for now, I think we'll just hold on to it. Alrighty, that's enough for now. Let's end the turn, and let's see about those attacks, shall we? And there it is. Alrighty, now the laborers remain severely damaged, but that's been the case for a while, and we do have some extremely threatening units like those chariots and those skull cannons, which are definitely going to be the issue here. But nonetheless, we've defeated Khorne many a time, and I expect that we can do so at least once more. Go. Alrighty, here we go, the last hurrah of the Blooded Wanderers, and it looks like it's going to be on a choke point battle at that. Not going to go so great for them, i.e. I believe they are completely screwed here. They'll have to weather the storm of our range fire, all while getting slowed down and by that swamp water. And frankly, I mean, Chaos Dwarfs and all that, well, I was about to say, Chaos Dwarfs, great in a choke point. Admittedly, this isn't really a Chaos Dwarf army so much as a, well, I mean, Lawfully, it's a Chaos Dwarf army, considering just the amount of trash that we get to send against the enemy, but at the same time, we don't have anything that would really allow us to take as much advantage of the choke point as a actual stack with lots of Chaos Dwarfs would. So, we'll see. We'll see. We're going to start the battle off as usual with our skirmishing rangers, ranged cav, rather, annoying the enemy doggos. I would prefer Fleshhounds rather than the Warhounds of Khorne to be the targets of these guys, but, well, we still got to take these guys out anyway. And it looks like they will charge just close enough to approach our artillery pieces and then back off as soon as they're in range. I wonder if that's on purpose. They wanted to try to close the distance with our skirmish cab, but they didn't want to get torn to shreds by the artillery. Admittedly, these are bolt throwers, and they are not good enough to actually tear these guys to shreds, so, well, not sure that the AI is aware of it, rather. So much as just realizing that it's a bunch of artillery. Alrighty, and it looks like the enemy army is now sufficiently annoyed. Here comes the bolt throwers. Don't knock out too many of those dogs, we got arrows to back them up. Alrighty, frankly, I'm surprised that these guys were able to reach us, so I didn't even back off the Oglacon's wolf boys as much as I probably should have, but it's all good. Pretty minimal losses. And we got the enemy skull cannon actually trying to fire away at our range units. That's going to be quite the annoyance, and we'll probably have to deal with it with a G'day Fireborn summon. In the meantime, though, speaking of summons, we have summoned our two of the 3 units of the Hobgob Cutthroats, and that are available thanks to Mr. Gorda's Backstabber, and thusly they will take the hits for us from the enemy dog charge. And from our own units hitting them, but that's just fine. We do have our own line of cutthroats behind these cutthroats as well. Here comes the enemy lord as well, but that's a pretty darn good target for our range fire. We're going to reduce his armor with a nice plague of rust since we don't have a lot of armor piercing damage, and there we go, between the daggers and the arrow fire, he falls, before allowing those murderous exhortations to actually hit our main line. Here comes the Khornate horde in all its glory now. I'm going to drop a quick Searing Doom on the blob of enemies, but it looks like they clear out most of that summoned unit before the Searing Doom comes down, which I suppose is alright. And as the enemy closes the distance, the daggers from our units of Sneaky Gits are let loose. The spawn of Khorne suffering severe damage already, but in doing so exploding and doing damage to our Hobgob Cutthroats. Though at the same time we did manage to get off that Armor of Contempt, so I assume that explosion will have dealt significantly less damage thanks to the additional armor. Alrighty, and our own Lord Overseer Rugni has dropped down upon the enemy below, setting these swamplands aflame with that Taurus fire, and nicely anchoring the battle line. Alright, it looks like the Khornate forces are in pretty bad shape now. The bounce power at about 85% in our favor. The G'day Fireborn gets summoned on the field and start tearing those skull cannons to shreds, though it looks like some Bloodletters did move to reinforce. Perhaps a little bit too late, though. Ooh, a Blood Reaper does, or 2 Blood Reapers, or rather a Blood Reaper and a Herald of Khorne, do, however, move through their lines to close the distance with Rugni and drop him down to about 50% of his HP, forcing him to back off while he heals up with his healing potion. And the Herald of Khorne swinging away in desperation against the piles of little Sneaky Gits. But there's too many Gits and too many arrows and not enough of Bloodletters to carry the day. And there we go, in a hail of arrows and in a hail of backstabbing daggers. The Herald drops and the enemy army begins to melt. The 3 units of Bloodletters that chose to backtrack and try to save the enemy skull cannon are the only things left. They'll take a little bit of arrow fire into the flanks and will get poisoned and flammable down to 12 speed as they cross that water. I don't think they're even going to be able to reach the melee anymore. Imagine waiting patiently in the realm of souls or in the warp there. You wanna go in, you wanna take some skulls, and you appear in a disgusting swampland, set on fire, poisoned, and then riddled with arrows before you get destroyed. It's not great for those poor bloodletters. I almost feel bad for them. But I suppose it's better for them to be banished than to be bound by the Chaos Dwarfs to serve their infernal purposes. Alrighty, there we go. Unfortunately, one of the units of chariots escaped, but otherwise the battle was very much in our favor. The Khornates got screwed by the choke point, which, well, I mean, considering the terrain of where Walatal is, it makes sense that it was a choke point battle. We got 1,000 labor for our trouble, though most of the demons get banished. Let's just say some of them were bound to our infernal engines and contraptions. We will transport the captives in a second, but let's just take a quick look. We got 14k damage on all of the riders, a little bit more damage on all of the hobgob archers, but the choke point did kind of favor them, so it does kind of make sense there. We got 14k damage on the enthusiasts, who beat out all the unnamed units of hobgoblin sneaky gets, and otherwise did pretty okay. With Demonsmith, Sorcerer of Metal, 2 spells for 20k damage, pretty solid. We will transport captives. Alright, and then we'll take Walatal next turn. Victory over Khorne. Well, the leadership when fighting Khornate factions is probably no longer going to come in handy, but, you know. Luther Harkin. Oh, you want peace now, buddy? You want peace? No. That ain't happening. Let's see if anybody does the opposite and declares war upon us. Response. You demand a gift. You are currently fighting parts of Sartosa and exiles of Khorne. Strength rank 7. You know what? I don't want to deal with her right now. We will give you the 1,300 money. It's not that much. Hopefully we can get her to fight Arcana instead and just stay on over there. It's kind of interesting how all of the Hikaran factions, or well, Southlands factions, are just moving towards us here, towards Lustria. Interesting. And a unit of man-eaters to join the man-eaters with ogre pistols. Sure. More man-eaters, can't say no to that. Enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle. Victory, giant blade for Ukani, scroll of blast. Normally, considering all the fire stuff, I'd keep a Scroll of Blast, but in this particular campaign, we have a lot of casters, and we have way more casting items than we actually have casters. Oh, Channeling Staff number 2, there it is. Fuse into a Book of Ashur. Or, yes, Book of Ashur. I think it always does that, actually. Alright, now we just need some casters to actually give those to. We'll keep the Pigeon Plucker pendants. I don't care for the Dragon Helm. Shield of Talos could come in handy in theory, but we might turn it into something useful later on. Talayan Pavis, I would actually make use of you. Zatan's Cruelty, alright. Ooh, Karakadrin destroyed. Brayherds come. And it's in Lustria, of course, because of course it is. We can't talk to you? We can't talk. Why can't we talk to you? What the heck is wrong with me? Beastman. Huh? What? Are you telling me we can't see them? They're not even in the. Okay, well, whatever. I'm just gonna ignore it. You are moving towards us, but I'm willing to bet that you will not stay and fight. At least I doubt it. Yeah, you'll run. Alright, let's force you to run then. With Izdubar. Then we could actually take the opportunity to draw them out onto the battlefield and then fight them there. We are damaged, and you're damaged especially. Oh, you wouldn't be able to reinforce. Well, that's unfortunate. That's tremendously unfortunate. Alright, fine. You're going to go in camp, then you're going to go into Poxmarsh, and you're going to sit there and heal, but also reinforce against these guys next turn. Now we can talk to you. We're not going to be friends. We will burn you down or kill you later on. But for now, we will not. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. The Awakened want peace, but that's unsurprising. The Ice Court. I really want that trade agreement with them, but I'm not willing to give them 5,000 gold for it. So I guess we'll wait. Alrighty, you guys are still looking okay. 33, yeah, the gifts given is being reduced now, but so is the military actions against our enemies, so hopefully the treaties will overcome. Well, right now, 52 versus 50, the aversion versus the treaties should be about even. So for now, they're reasonably happy with us. Now, whether that remains the case, well, that remains to be seen. You create armaments, and I guess this is a place where we want to build armaments, but that's not something we necessarily want to do right now. Oh, I maybe shouldn't have even bothered deleting those things, because I think I'd prefer to have the raw materials right now. But anyway, you, sir, are going to... actually, wait, let me take a quick look, and... Oh, he claimed this seat. Nobody's gonna do this, are they? I'm just wondering whether we could back you up to not waste the turn, and then have one of you take the place. It's not breached, but we could breach it with one of you, assuming that this guy actually dies. And then that would save this guy the turn, because he needs to get to Bloodhall as fast as we possibly can get him there. Alright, let's try it. I'm gonna hope that this doesn't screw us over. What? What? We just killed all of that. Oh, great. Wonderful, it's that bug. Absolutely wonderful. And of course, the AI gets its full garrison back up immediately, rather than... Like, even if the garrison got completely banished, but the game decided to punt us out of the siege, force us off the siege, but the garrison shouldn't revive at full HP in one turn in the first place. It's insane. Alright, screw it, we're taking this then. Alrighty, and we're still besieging. You do not have breaches, so we'll need to break siege and then... Stop moving, little jerk face. You will need to re-besiege. I guess we could still use you as a reinforcement, though. Ugh, I'm so annoyed about this. One of you, I guess. Alright, you're gonna move on in, Harok Morgamaz. And the breaches are there, only the two. Huh, actually, I'm curious. If we break the siege with you, and then have the other guy, or maybe even the same guy, doesn't really matter, attack the place again, will the number of breaches increase? It will not, okay. I was just curious if it would work that way or not. Alright, you guys go closer, you need to go a little bit closer. In order to reinforce there. Alright, I can't believe we have to do that again. That's so ridiculous, game. It's absolutely ridiculous. And frankly, I should have gotten Tyrant for you earlier, but, well... Yeah, we need to complete the red line, so go for the firing drills now. You, sir, got 1 point. Let's go for Stickum. And you will go for... I do really like Transmutation of Lead here, so I think we're going to max it out. Alrighty, as for you two, frankly, you could start moving towards Tyrant yourselves, because we don't know what kind of armies you will be commanding. And it's probably a long while until you get them. Next up, Overseers. Oh, I got another Bellicose one. That's actually a pretty decent pickup. You guys can't go past this to Poxmarsh. I'm just wondering, yeah, I guess it's only here. We have to, follow other armies. So let's get the Bellicose guy on field, because, we never know if we get another one. Expensive, but it is what it is. Then we have Gakas, Asgax. You're fine as you are. I would also like to see... These guys have not swapped out yet, have they? 8 melee attack plus 5 melee attack. Yeah, select the defensive one more. Them being more tanky feels like the better choice. You, Sumai Asgax, you're fine as you are as well. Just stay in this carnival location. Harok Morgamaz, I just checked you and the rest is fine. Alright, let's do public order. -8 here, Piranha Swamps. Okay, you're definitely needing to set an example. And you're at -12, which is not horrific, but it's also not great. Alright, I think we need to send some to Amazonia now as well. Where are we losing a decent amount? Okay, we are here, but that is going to be this. Sorry. Ah, of course it's gonna do that bug again. Alright. Let's redo that. When did this menu get so buggy? I don't remember it being buggy at all last time I played the Chaos Dwarfs, so this feels like a recent thing. Alright. Down and up to Amazonia. And in Amazonia we will do the control. Frankly, it doesn't really need the control so much, but I don't want it to drop so low that it'll start impacting our other provinces. And we need to watch out for jungles with green mist because it's also, you know, fairly bad in that particular case. Alrighty, that's good. Diplomacy check real quick.
Azazel.
Yeah, Azazel, you want to trade, but we don't want to trade with you, sir. Alright, I guess you guys are positioned where you are. Oh, we also do have potentially building. We did switch to Masterful Architects, so maybe we just do build up the gun turrets here. Why not? Go for it. It's expensive, but it is what it is. While we have it, we could also probably upgrade both factories to tier 3, even if we don't necessarily upgrade the other stuff. Income from refinery building, so we could build up a refinery here at the cost of a little bit of these. We could also build the Alchemist Guild Hall just so that we get the bonus control. We do have a decent amount of the... Hey, you know what? Let's grab the Monster Pens to increase our capacity of both Centaur Taurochs. Like so. We'll keep the Prototype Mega Mortar for now, but we probably won't need it. Actually, I mean, in theory, adjacent provinces will still give benefit once it's past tier 4. The Vanguard is, you know what, we'll keep it, though it's not really doing anything or much for... You know what, actually, yeah, get rid of the Vanguard, keep hold of the Mega Mortar. I think that's the way to go. Now, you idiots. Attack this, kill the same exact enemies again. I'd auto-resolve it, but it'll kill half our army, so what can you do? Exactly. I say that every day. Anyway, here we go. Once again against the frickin' Khornites with the exact same army that we just defeated. Granted, we don't have a choke point to rely upon this time, but, well, nonetheless. I just hate the idea of fighting the same battle twice. I suppose the siege makes it a little bit different. Unfortunately and annoyingly, the breaches in the walls are over on this side of the map, and I tried to move our reinforcement thing to this side somewhere, and the closest place that it would allow it was all the way back here. I guess this was maybe the max of 5 minutes, and we thusly couldn't move further. And that means that we will get no value out of those breaches in the walls, and we'll just have to make our own breaches. Oh well, what can you do? Like I said, though, the bolt throwers are reasonably decent at it. They will take down all 6 of the enemy towers and then start working away at this enemy wall while we start laying down that withering fiery arrow fire. Fiery fire. Good job, Ruinous. You have a great lexicon. Anyway, the upon the blood letters there. And reasonably effectively, I might add, with the Bloodletters losing about 50% of their HP and trying to back off, as the dubious safety of those crenellations is just not enough for them to stave off their banishment, or at least that one unit. And it does look like another unit will take their place, and I don't think that's a good idea, but more power to them, I suppose. Our gobs do need a little bit more practice. And there we go. And this unit similarly has decided that that was not a good idea, drops to about 50% of its HP, and then backs the heck off. Well, we gotta do something while we wait for the artillery to knock a few holes in the walls, which they've done so, and now move towards the gate. I do believe we should have just enough ammunition to bring down the gate as well, and thusly have 2 breaches in the walls, and in the meantime, it looks like a lot of the Bloodletters will be severely damaged or gone by the time that we enter the fray. Alright, let's speed this up a little bit as, well, we've seen enough range arrow fire and all that, though it does look like another unit of Bloodletters will take a few hits. And aha, it looks like we've forced the enemy Chaos Spawn of Khorne into Rampage as it heads through the breach to engage our units, immediately exploding as it reaches 50% of its HP and dishing out plenty of damage to our units. Just out of curiosity. Well, actually, not as much as I thought, but anyway. Unfortunately for this one, there we go, there's another one. And, oh, that was the 75% HP, and this was the 50%. Yeah, there we go, up to 9k now. I guess the first explosion doesn't do all that much. Anyway, the spawn foolishly runs out here before it gets gunned down by all of our range units. You had to move towards the screen like that, didn't you? Oh, there we go. Well, that's a great unit to destroy out here, as it is then a unit that we don't have to deal with inside the enemy settlement. Alrighty, and I do believe the gate is now at long last destroyed. We have also summoned our Khedai Fireborn in the enemy backline to destroy the enemy Skull Cannon, which I don't feel bad about because, well, A, the enemy will do the exact same thing while summoning Bloodletters on top of your artillery, and if the AI does something, I don't feel bad about doing it myself, generally speaking. Although on occasion, especially in the mid to late game, I will generally not start destroying enemy artillery pieces like that and be more willing to engage in artillery shootouts and such when casualties don't matter nearly as much, but obviously in the early game, especially with a minor faction like this, we can't really afford to take chances. Alright, well, the Khedai Fireborn will take out that Skull Cannon. Actually, frankly, this Skull Cannon probably wouldn't have been able to help in this particular situation anyway. Anyway, with those two breaches made in the walls, it's time to send in the clowns, the poor little goblin laborers who will be torn to shreds by the chariots and by the exalted bloodletters while we drop spellwork upon them, and chuck a few daggers through the gate as well to dish out additional little bits of damage. The first of the units of laborers is rushing out of there, but we got plenty more where that came from. And the exact same situation is happening over on the right flank as another unit of laborers attempts to flee, or perhaps it was one of the units of summoned cutthroats. Some kind of gob. Having a little bit of a tough time against those flesh hounds, but at the same time, doing damage to them, slowly but surely. Alrighty, and more laborers are just streaming into the enemy settlement to overwhelm the enemy. I do like, once again, to play like this, annoying the enemy with the garbage units and only then sending in our better units. And I generally really enjoy factions that are capable of doing this sort of thing. Anyway, the Bloodletters and the Chariots are having a pretty bad time of it, in fact getting destroyed not so much by the laborers as the supporting fire, but while pinned by the laborers. Which works nicely for us. Of course, our Sorcerer Prophets are in the midst of the piles of garbage to support. And probably hoping that they get paid a lot for their trouble here, because this is probably not something they necessarily want to be doing. Now, more Bloodletters are streaming on in, and they will get hit with a double Gehenna's Golden Hounds, or Gehenna's Golden Hounds Overcast, doing about 50% damage to them and a little bit more to another unit that I did not see. Or a little bit less, rather. I think it was a Fleshhound unit. And speaking of Fleshhounds, more Fleshhounds have moved in over on our right flank, but the Bull, the Great Taurus, will block them off and prevent them from charging on through while dishing out the damage. And it's still doing that little sidle animation where it sort of moves to the side while attacking. Kind of a bizarre one, but all good. Gordas we have to be careful about, as he is at 50% of his HP. In fact, he started the battle hurt, so I didn't want him to engage the enemy fully, but he does need to remain in the sort of center of the blob because he does provide some nice buffs when he rolls the dice. Fortunately, though, with the bounce bar at about 90%, the brawl is very nearly over, and I'm assuming the game will not bug out this time, and this will indeed be the last hurrah of the forces of Khorne. One more Searing Doom comes down on Fleshhound, Bloodletter, and Chaos Chariot alike, and only now have we started sending in the sneaky gits to follow the piles of laborers into combat. You'll see a few daggers flying in, and frankly, kind of impressive that we still have ammunition remaining on our gobs. Well, I guess yeah, it's the archers, not the wolf raiders. Which once again makes sense. And now, looks like the enemy Blood Reaper is at last here. I did not realize he hadn't joined the fray. Good for him for actually showing up. A little bit too late though, because I think the enemy has no hope left. And well, the Searing Dooms just keep on coming. Spelling the Searing Doom of Khorne. Or at least this one of his factions. There we go. You gotta love that animation from the Tauruses, though. Especially with the sort of runes that it leaves on the ground after. Alrighty, and with that, I do believe the bounce power is at about 95% in our favor. A couple more hits, just gotta get that Blood Reaper a little bit more damage, and the enemy will begin melting away. Their chariots are booking it on out of there, some of them, in fact, being brought down by Sneaky Gits and by Laborers. Imagine telling Khorne that you got killed by a Goblin Laborer. I don't think that's gonna go down so well. And there we go. With that, the Flesh Hounds melt the Blood Reaper, loses his skull, and the battle is ours. No, not quite. Come on. Come on. Somebody hit him. There you go. Oh, but he didn't take the... Okay. There we go. Now he... Credit where it's due. It took way longer to kill that guy than I thought it would, considering he had like 10 HP remaining. But anyway, decisive victory. Lovely. No more Khorne here. Alright, there we go. One final screw you from Khorne, forcing us to fight that fight again, but at the end of the day, all he earned from it was the skulls of about 500 laborers, and, well, they're not very high-value skulls, are they? And we will occupy the place as tower, like so, and by the looks of it, that one little lord will survive, eh? Alright, fair enough, and you could go through it and chase him down, but you can't win against him, I'd wager, because, well, you're not a fighter. Free Briar Sheath. Stock, Snipe, Woodsman, and Unspottable. It's the Stock and the Snipe that might be a little bit more useful. Anyway, I guess you will sit here. He will destroy himself attacking Walatal next turn, I take it. Meaning Arugni is free to run over here. I am willing to bet that he won't be able to reach a Blood Hall in one bound. And then you can follow while you stay. Alright. Yeah, keep the Hobgob mustering camp there for now, and I guess there's nothing else to build. Ooh, you know what? Well, I don't really necessarily want to spend the money. We're going to temporarily build the Fane Guard here because we... Oh, wait, we could build it faster next turn with Masterful Architects. Because of the mask attacks, then she'll show up here, won't she? Yeah. Alright. We'll deal with that if it comes down to it, and otherwise I don't believe that there is anything, is there? I'm just going to have to keep an eye on those Bull Centaur Tauruks. 6 melee defense and 10 physical resistance. Enemy hero action success chance. Oh. It is tempting. Not going to pretend it isn't tempting, and oh yeah, we have no armaments. Alright, fine. That means I do believe we can skip the rest of this and end the turn, and... Ooh, wait.
It is good.
You have one last mission, yes you do, to take out... Aha! The mask. She is here at the Chamber of Visions. Oh no, she's gonna proceed to Walatal next, most likely then. We'll take the mission for Einar. And that means we will probably have to rush the Fane Guard next turn. Hopefully she doesn't have enough movement range to immediately reach and kill Harrock here. You know what, just in case, I'm gonna have you lose those items. I don't trust it. With you both in March stance, it's also kind of dangerous. Should have checked that first, but oh well, too late. Let's get you shoot him, get that ammunition increase. See, the plus 50% ammunition increase doesn't really help the Hobgob archers that much because they are, they're already pretty, you know, ammoed up. You know what? I think they have also now earned their right to become Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders. Or at least, wait, you two have... This gives us 5 of these guys. I'm wondering whether I should upgrade you to another Hobgob Bolter. And then you guys, you will become now, at long last, Sneaky Gits as well. There we go. And again, about half of this army is going to eventually be, well, now that they're high-ranked, probably not deleted, but just punted to another army. And then the Goblin Laborers will be deleted. Or sent to their deaths. I mean, they've been with us since the very start. It's kind of funny. They are survivors once again. Anyway, I believe we are losing money, so I'd rather not spend any right now. Just keep doing what we're doing. Alright, so let's end the turn. I'm just gonna hope I haven't forgotten anything. Really? You're gonna besiege rather than attack? Ugh. I assume that the place is still breached and that it wouldn't have had time to heal up. Let's see if the mask moves down here as well. Alright, this is the Ecstatic Legions. I don't know where in the order the Masks faction is going to be. Ah, there it is, and there. Okay. Well, I guess we're not going to the Blood Hall yet. But eventually. Eventually. Alrighty, ooh, wait. One other thing. Wait, Summon Besieged Volatile, yes. Crooked Moon Meekness gets. Diplomatic relations with Chaos. Dwarfs don't care. Allegiance points gained. Very much do care. Free Armor of Destiny. Quartermaster Award. Thank you, thank you. That'll be a nice pickup. Much as I'd hate to lose out on the Conclave influence, Malicious Compliance will give us control, and it's just too valuable not to pick up right now. And again, I find this extremely concerning. Ah, and the Beastmen are... Actually, this probably is of use to us. You can reinforce in March stance, right? Sort of. I'm wondering whether these guys will actually fight or not, if we reinforce with this pile of garbage. I do want the magma cannons in the fight, though. We could also besiege and send the beastmen at the walls, potentially. Okay, let's think about this for a bit. I don't want to think about it right now. You cannot reach the Mask of Slaanesh, who has, go figure, a bunch of superpowered demonettes, which, well, I guess will be against our superpowered hobgobs. I don't imagine the ambush will work against her, but we will give it a shot. And then you will go and encamp right beside us here. Like so. Who knows? It may work out. And, oh, we should probably upgrade both of the mine shafts here because, oh, good lord, 7.2k? Okay, wait. Take the Blood Hall first. Wait, no, oh, it's Blood Hall. It's not Wallet Hall. Oh, alright, well, that's annoying. You, kill this. Otter. That's just a garrison, whatever. Let me guess, our garrison. And notice how our garrison did not revive with 100% of its HP? Yeah, game. Screw you. Anyway, enemy killed in battle, and blooded wanderers destroyed. You can... just hold on to this for now. Then, I'd like to take a look at those Tauruks again. Nothing's changed. Wait, wouldn't the capacity have increased? Oh, no, it should not have increased. Never mind. Ignore me. What I would like to do is get the tower roads up and running for the public order, and maybe even start building up the donation barrel for money influx, as we're gonna need it. Alright, and you can stay in the Masterful Architects because there are other stuff to upgrade there, as this is our sort of primary province. I mean, other than Zarmuta Triangle, but let's face it, we have not invested in it as much as we have Piranha Swamps for, obvious reasons. Anyway. Yeah, so you're fine as you are, you're just going to see about the mask. Does the mask do a Nakari thing and cause any rampages? I wish I remembered. And Dance of Dreaming, well, that would be quite the irritant. Physical resistance, missile resistance, a fair bit as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough fight, I'm not gonna lie. You can go there as well to reinforce, I guess. Actually, funnily enough, an ambush against the Slaaneshi does not necessarily work in our favor. Can she bypass us and go to Walatal? In theory, but I think maybe we're safe. I mean, you wouldn't really add too much to the fight, but who knows? I'm just wondering whether we should move you in, just in case. You know what, let's do it, let's see. In theory, if she attacks us directly here at Rugni, we should get a choke point battle out of it. I'm not 100% sure on it, but it would be nice. You guys are fine as you are. Let's start putting you into Tyrant, just in case we get value out of it. Oh, we got the Granite Guard available now, and much as I'd love to give it to those guys, it's probably not what's going to happen right now. Diplomacy check real quick. Blooded Axe Tribe, yeah, we'll deal with you in a bit. The Man-Eaters, still kicking, though with one settlement remaining, not as well. Goldtooth, you're currently at war with Drajuath. That's not great. Drajuath, we need those ogres. Stop it. Damn you. I guess we could, in theory, confederate him. Though, this was a campaign where I wasn't going to confederate the other legendary lords. I will consider it. Alright, well, now we return to this problem. I guess we will move you in to reinforce here. It'll most likely mean you will suffer attrition, but it is what it is. You will do the same thing here. Or at least to the best of your ability. Like so. Then we will have Izdubar attack this fella, and we'll see what happens. You're not at war with these guys, are you? Wait, you join war against the Awakened. Huh, they won't even join the war. Oh, then what the heck was the point of this? Oh well. Useless beastmen. They're just gonna be there to be irritating. You can get We Are the Elite missile damage for the entire army is not so bad. Oh, you could maybe use that Briar Sheath. Stog Snipe. Huh. Although, you know what, we'll build a Sniper Castellan, because this guy's a Shotgun Castellan, and the Sniper Castellan would probably get some better use out of it. They still won't do a lot of range damage, but, you know. I believe we're good to go. We could pop the Granite Guard in here just because we can. Together with those other two blunderbusses. They will be punted to another army, mind you, but maybe that's alright. Alright, fine. Let's get the Granite Guard in here, though they are kind of horrifically expensive, but it is what it is. Attrition? Yeah. And how's our convoys doing, by the way? 2 turns and 4 turns. Okay, we're still okay. Yo, Izdubar. Hit this. Let's see if they run. They will not run. Alright, I like it. I prefer the field battle, and with the 3 magma cannons now, even though 2 are damaged, we should be okay. Go. Alrighty, here we go. This should actually be a pretty interesting fight, just by nothing else, or if nothing else by virtue. Oh, really? Really, dude? Alright, well, he tried to use his Amber Spear to kill off the bloated corpse, but it just smacked into the hillside, because of course it did. And it's not like there's a lot of hill... It's all good. It doesn't really matter, because somebody's just gonna do this, and then the bloated corpse will explode anyway. Shouldn't have even bothered, should have launched that spear at the Lord, but frankly it probably would have whiffed anyway. Anyway, as I was starting to say before the annoyance of that Amber Spear smacking into the hill interrupted my thought process, the battle will be interesting by virtue of the fact that the enemy army is deploying behind us, and thusly we are going to have to reposition our army very quickly before they arrive on field in order to try to fight them. Fortunately, the first little army that is outside the Awakening is made up of very few units, and between the Skullcrackers just riding through those poor zombies, and the rest of our units helping out, we should do just fine. Oh, I love Skullcrackers. It's a shame we won't be able to ally with Skaven in this particular campaign, because I really enjoyed using Skullcrackers together with Doomflayers in my Drazuath campaign. It was one of my favorite little combinations, and plus all the sort of deadly spinning blades of the 2 units work very nicely together, both in terms of theme and the way that the units function. But all good. It's all about building different armies than we previously built. Alrighty, and the last of the zombies will melt away. We'll find something nice to back up the Skullcrackers, not to worry. And the enemy reinforcements have arrived on the battlefield. Fortunately for us, we've got like 5,000 goblin laborers to send against them, and it'll be a long time for the enemy to reach our main line. We'll start the day off with a nice burning head through the enemy lines, as usual, doing absolutely massive damage to the enemy various zombie units, but barely harming the depth guard. Unsurprisingly, 100 armor. No spell resistance on them, but the armor is more than enough, unlike those poor little zombos. Alrighty, and in the meantime, we do have 2 more magma cannons, and now trying desperately to move through the jungles in order to join the fray. It does look like the enemy is sending mortar fire our way, however, and just out of range of our artillery firing back on them. Or they were, until they decided to close. Now, as I recall, magma cannons are actually pretty darn bad at artillery shootouts, the reason being that they fire their shots which smack into the artillery pieces, which then take very little damage from the sort of burning effect. rather than firing upon the crew and killing them all within seconds. For artillery shootouts, you want the Deathstreak rockets or the Hell cannons. But oh well. Unfortunately, with 3 magma cannons, over time we should still be able to clear the enemy out. Alright, and it looks like the enemy army is now annoyed enough to start moving towards us. And if they are gonna move and not protect their artillery crew, here come the Kadai to speed those mortars along a little bit faster, while the enemy carronades get taken out, or at the very least, it was another mortar, get severely damaged by the flamestorm. Not to worry though, by the looks of it, there is still plenty of fight to be had here. Several Sirens units, I see animated Hulks moving in, and 1, 2, 3, 3 numbers of animated Hulks, as well as 1 unit of rotting Prometheans. And the animated Hulks, though their stats seem to make them seem fragile, they're very much not fragile. I do love spamming the units myself when using the Vampire Coast. Alrighty, just waiting for them to reach our main line now. And it looks like they're actually going to start firing their guns into the Goblin Laborers. Well, good luck to them. We have more Laborers than they have bullets. And the Magma Cannons have arrived, with all 3 of them now firing down on the enemy from this hill. And it's going to be a big old fight. Time for the Goblin Laborers to move, or at the very least we're going to send the first 2,000 or so of them in to annoy the enemy and distract them. And getting ready to send the second line in, and repositioning our blunderbusses, our skullcrackers, etc., etc. Fire upon them while taking no damage themselves, generally speaking. Naphtha bombs will fly from the Blazing Beards of Bergerac, and pretty, well, actually couldn't tell which unit they hit. I suppose it doesn't matter much. There we go, you gotta love seeing all those different fire effects on the ground as well. And you gotta love these giant battles with tons of units all over the place. In just a matter of time now, as the enemy is engaged by our laborers, the first 2,000 or so are starting to run away, but that's why we kept them in 2 lines. The second line is now engaged, and our Chaos Dwarf Warriors are bringing up the rear as well, thus far undamaged and going in fresh to combat the enemy. Our blunderbusses are firing away at whatever critical targets they can reach, i.e. range units and big boys like the animated Hulks and whatnot. Or medium boys, I suppose. While the Kadai Fireborn, surprisingly, are still in the fight. They're up to 210 kills and 19k damage. I'd say it's kind of impressive, but the AI has weirdly been ignoring them in favor of moving towards firing upon the Granite Guard and the other of our units. And as I've said before, the Granite Guard, I've always loved the Granite Guard's color scheme, and our faction basically uses a very similar color scheme. And they fit very nicely. I do wish we could build more Granite Guard as a unit, though, but anyway. Ooh, and it does look like several of them have lost their heads, being fired upon by the Gunnery White, or possibly by the Fleet Admiral. Good for them, I suppose. 66 out of 80 now. Huh. And that's just the single entities firing upon him. Granted, it's not a lot of damage overall to our army, but it is still quite the irritant. On the bright side, though, the Bandspire has shifted to about 70% in our favor. The enemy's main line or center has completely collapsed, and only the flanks remain in the fight. That's where the enemy has deployed its monstrous infantry, those animated Hulks and those rotting Prometheans on both sides. I believe they had some Sirens here as well, but they're gone now. You can still see the daggers lying around. And the enemy has done the same thing over on this side. Sirens and blobs of monstrous infantry. It's a pretty great combination with the Sirens having that charmed attack on them. And certainly it's allowing them to hold the line a lot longer than you would have thought. But with their lord destroyed, the Gunnery White on his way out now, it looks like the enemy begins to crumble away at long last. Gonna get a few more volleys off from our blunderbusses, but at this point, with the enemy's numbers so low, gotta be careful about dishing out more damage to our own remaining units in the fight than the enemy. And it looks like the last of the sirens are just about gone. Our single entities, or our lord and heroes, are moving in now as well to help out. There we go. Nice final blow from the Bull Centaur Torque to one of those rotting Prometheans. And another. Beautiful. And there we go. With that, the rotting Prometheans are gone. A few more zombies melt away. And a heroic victory at the Awakening. Alrighty, there we go with, let's see, 4 and 11, 15 losses of Chaos Dwarfs and close to 800 losses of Laborers. That's a, oh, actually, no, we actually lost 29 Chaos Dwarfs to 800 or so Laborers, but still, it does feel like an appropriately loreful sort of setup for the, for a Chaos Dwarf fight, in which we were victorious, and we get 900 labor out of it, so yeah, we did quite well. Also, blunderbusses, 17k damage, very, very solid, probably outdoing out-damaging everybody except for the Skullcrackers and the Magma Cannon, but that should hardly be of any surprise. Alrighty, so we will transport the captives. I really wanted the Beastmen to join in on that so that we could have sent them in as, you know, garbage fodder and then, you know, destroy them immediately after. But anyway, Alamasu for his Dubar Grimtideson, sure. Attack-minded, also sure. And you blunderbusses, you've been with us for, well, since like since turn like 2 or 3. So you can get a name, you can be great. Sweepers, there we go, frickin' shift key. Anyway, you are going to now take the Awakening. If we use somebody else to take the, wait, oh, neither one of you can move far enough? Yeah, well, not. Alright, we'll occupy. We'll occupy the place. Out of resolve, I assume nobody will die, hopefully. 90 units lost, and severe damage to our Bull Centaur Torque, our tankiest unit by far. Okay, game, okay. We will occupy this tower. And another Forest Cloak. We're getting, I'd say we're getting a surprising amount of Forest Cloaks, but on the other hand, I mean, we're in the jungles, so kind of makes sense, I suppose. Let's get that money pit. Oh, no, we're not going to get that money pit. This whole place is a money pit. This whole faction is a money pit, but anyway, Masterful Architects to do that next turn. We're still losing 2,000 gold per turn, so it means we will need to now upgrade some factories and get some of those gold panners and refineries and whatnot up and running. Oh, actually, next turn we might grab the clay pit and then rush its construction in order to build the other stuff up. I'll lose the Hobgoblin Bivouac, it would help in defending, but otherwise I think we're okay.
Can't be done. Can't be done.
I'm wondering whether these guys could try to besiege Izdubar at the Awakening and then attack these two little armies outside here. It is possible, but we do still have magma cannons there. Too bad we can't move them into to heal. Huh. Although, wait a moment. If you go out here, would you be able to reach him? No. Darn. Would have been neat if it worked, but alas. Not everything will always work. Anyway, that looks good to me, and I do believe that's the end of the turn. There's no more diplomacy or anything of that nature to do, so let's end the turn and... Oh, right. Ask of Slaanesh. Are we ready for you? Okay, let's get you another point in time. You know what? Let's get Unyielding Command for this. We may very well need it. I'm also kind of tempted to just, you know, combine these two, but then we just re-recruit them. And for now, money is an object, so yes. Also gotta watch out for these guys coming down here in Yanbo, taking that blood haul before we do, which would be a tremendous shame. Oh, also, I did want to check you. How is the allegiance? I wanted to start by grabbing a couple of... Ooh, War Drum. War Drum, though. Damn it. I was gonna say grabbing a couple of Sky Lanterns, but War Drum. Start with the War Drum. But also we'll build a Sky Lantern. Alright, we might as well start integrating some of those units. And yes, I'm doing this despite the fact that we're losing 2,000 gold per turn. It is what it is. We need to give these guys some more gifts to make them happy. And with the Cult of Pleasure coming down southward, we very well might be able to do that. Alrighty, let's end the turn. Skip, 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 skip. And do we need to level any of these guys? I'm going to say no and risk not doing it. Minus... Let's get Esteemed Combatant, in case we get attacked, as its armor-piercing damage increase when defending. And frankly, with several of those, even the Goblin Laborers should be able to do decent amounts of damage, so why not, right? Anyway. End the turn. Mask of Slaanesh. I don't imagine the ambush will succeed because your heroes will move before your army does and thereby make our ambush fail. I imagine. But I'm hoping that regardless of whether it fails or not, the mask will attack us anyway because she will consider our Hobgob army to be weak and pathetic. That's the dream. Cult of Pleasure encountered will probably attack us eventually as well, especially since we're allied to the... I was about to say... okay, well, the ambush failed... Oh, and you're attacking this useless... that's not great. And the reason that this isn't great is because the defeat trait will go on him. I don't even know what her defeat trait is. I guess we're about to find out. Hopefully it's not a really good one that this army will need, but we probably won't wipe out the faction before she comes back, so... we'll see. Let's find out. Go. Alrighty, here we go. This is going to be interesting. This is a terrible matchup for the type of army that we have, because the enemy army is essentially the same kind of army that we have, but better. They have twice the speed that we have, and we rely on our own infantry having speed, and the enemy are frenzied, high damage dealing fragile units, which our own units are as well. Yeah, Slaanesh versus Godpile, not so great, but well, we'll see if we can make it work here. And of course, we've got the Exalted and regular Demon that's being super buffed by the Mask, who will also have... Is it a Mortis Engine effect? Let's see which one she uses. I guess we'll see. Anyway, we do try to hide all of our forces, including the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire, all the way in the trees, but interestingly, the enemy immediately moves towards the tree line. Did they even try to move over here? What if we had hid the guys here, huh? Or back here? I didn't see any of their units moving to any of those places, but whatever, man. Whatever. Anyway, if the enemy wants to play that game, well, we have one good use for our piles of laborers. We're going to get an Overcast Burning Head moving through the enemy demonettes and laborers. Unfortunately, the Burning Head will veer away rather than hit the last two units, and will veer directly into the piles of laborers. But once again, that's what we're there for, and before the Sorcerer Prophet is caught and killed by all this, we simply withdraw him off the battlefield. Did a little bit of damage, doing half, maybe a little bit more, 60% HP damage to 2 units and 1 regular unit of demonettes, but, well, not quite enough. Anyway, the other problem is that it took way too long for our reinforcements to arrive on the battlefield. They're only now here, but with the incredible speed that the entire enemy army has, by the looks of it, we will not be able to set up our army at all, including the artillery pieces, which is going to be another major issue. And the enemy are heading down that hill towards us, and a little bit of a lash of Slaanesh from the enemy Allurus. Oh, there is an Allurus in here. Darn. I was looking for a caster for the Dwemer Leech Orb, as obviously the Mask herself is not a caster, but did not see you. Oh well. Well, the Allurus gets a nice charge on her Seeker Chariot through some of the sneaky gets, doing about killing off about 25 of them, but mostly leading the charge of the other fast units. Seekers of Slaanesh, Hellstriders, more Hellstriders, and the Mask herself with a bunch of Demonettes charging in over on the right flank. We have to stem the tide as fast as we possibly can, so we summon the units of Kadai and Fireborn to block off to block off 2 of the enemy units of demonettes. Unfortunately, obviously, the Kadai Fireborn will get torn to shreds in a matter of seconds, but the longer we can keep those guys out of the fight, the better. Unfortunately, our artillery only just manages to crest the kill, so the Goblin Bolt Throwers will probably get no use in this particular battle, and 2 of our units of Sneaky Gits have already broken under the charge of the Slaanesh. Try to slow them down, a little bit of Vortex, a little bit of Gehenna's Golden Hands, I should say specifically. But it does look like about a third of our army has broken to the enemy charge. On the bright side, by moving the rest of our army over to the left flank, we have been able to corner a few of the other enemy fast movers, destroying some chariots and seekers before the rest of the enemy can arrive. Obviously, the other issue is that we don't have time to have Gordas summon his additional units on field. We got that one summon, and the enemy army was already here. Alright, and it looks like both of our bolt throwers have to make their way off the battlefield. Our Lear lines? Oh, they're Slaaneshi, they're the ones with Lear lines, but our rear lines have completely collapsed. Lear lines. Fantastic. Anyway, the balance of power is in our favor, if only just, and we just have to try to keep our Hobgob Sneaky Gits from routing. It's immunity to psychology that is really important right now, to prevent them from just running away due to fear and terror. There is a Cultist of Slaanesh and a War Shrine as well. We try to focus it down a little bit with range fire, but it's a lot of HP on it. Fortunately, though, the fragile units have begun to be destroyed. There are only a couple of Demonette units remaining in the fight, as well as the Cultist and the Mask herself, who we have completely ignored for the entire fight, as she's just too dang tanky to deal with. Alright, and it looks like the Mask is still in the fight, but everybody else will fall. The Demonettes are banished. The Cultist drops from that War Shrine. Beautiful. And only the Mask remains. Ah, I lost sight of... Huh? Uh-oh. Ah, the Mask is chasing our Overseer and won't let him lift off as he loses half of his HP, desperately pops that potion of healing, and attempts to escape. He's not going to be able to fight a legendary lord like this. So we're going to allow our melee, or our units of range cap into melee to allow the Overseer to escape. And the Mask is just melting away, but very, very slowly, so hopefully the range fire will send her on her way. Alrighty, just a little bit more work, and dang, that speed and that repositioning can't even follow with the camera very easily. Yeah, not much to say about this tactically anymore. Just a matter of waiting out the clock and destroying the Mask for good. Well, probably not for good, as I imagine that it will revive within some time, but, you know, we'll get there. Heroic victory at that. Once again, too bad we can't get a few final screenshots here. This would have been a pretty nice one with the sort of skies and everything on fire, arrows and all that. Ooh, alrighty, a Pyrrhic victory and certainly a tough fight. The Slaaneshi are actually a pretty terrible matchup for our Goblin army and would be a much better matchup for our Chaos Dwarf and Heavy army, simply because they have so much speed to them that they counter the speed that we ourselves have and can close the distance before we can chuck too many of those precursor weapon daggers at the enemy. Certainly is very dangerous. Plus, the Mask is just impossible to take down. And, well, like many Slaaneshi lords, like Sigvald at the very least, it's better to just ignore her and kill everything else. It just takes too much resources to bring her down, as we would have had to just commit all of our range units to doing so, and I didn't want to do that. Maybe it would have gone differently if I had done that, but, well, this is the way that I decided to do it. Anyway, 669 labor. Interesting. Interesting. It's almost like this Slaaneshi giggle feels like low-hanging fruit, but anyway, call it a sign. But anyway, transport the captives, a very nice fight. The remnants of that army hopefully will still be reachable, as we'd like to destroy the, well, elite units. I'm also very interested to see what that defeat rate is gonna be here. Because we did lose out on getting it for Rugni, and a Charybdis for this army. Sure. Why not? Also, I think we haven't read this one. A cacophony of roars and feral shrieks rings out ahead of your convoy. A dark elf beastmaster approaches. By the look of his shackled beasts, he has recently returned from an expedition into Norska and poses little threat, his retinue of hunters visibly weary and battered from their run-ins with the Northmen and critters of the tundra. With a tired, drooky sneer, tired sneer, that's fantastic. He offers the convoy one of his creatures in exchange for some supplies. Though we care little for the dark elf's plight, such a beast could be useful against future threats. Accept the beast. Oh, lovely. Visseland, Nullen, and the Barrow Legion destroyed. What the heck is going on over there? Interesting. Luckstone, the rhythm... Oh, the rhythm stilled. Oh, Vigor loss reduction is a terrible trait, because all lords get perfect vigor eventually, so this is basically just 50 armor-piercing damage. It's terrible. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's close, so... It has some uses, let's say, but otherwise, we don't have to, you know, look to try to getting another copy is what I'm getting at. Kazag and the Ravenbus Confederated, not our problem. Malicious compliance, now ours. That extra control, new convoy contracts, and one turn until you're back. Good. And then giving us some more labor as well. We're gonna need it. Alrighty, with the mask destroyed, we should in theory have the time to proceed towards the Blood Hall and knock it out. I wonder, if we go by sea, would we be able to besiege it? I don't know, and I'm kind of not willing to risk it. Here's what we'll do. We'll push you within our... Oh, let's have an attrition here. You go here. There are no enemies out there, meaning we should in theory be free to push out Mr. Ukani Trua, and then see if he can't... I think he won't be able to land there anyway, it won't work. I was gonna say, just push him out there by himself and see if he could land there next turn. This is all cliffside, I take it? Or wait, this doesn't look like cliffside. Can you go here and then try to land outside and then maybe besiege? Just want to see this. Alright, maybe we can do it that way. And we shall see. And then you can proceed this way as well. Either way, we can't leave Blood Hall behind us because they could, you know, attack us. I do see military presence here, however, so there will be another stack to deal with, another Slaaneshi stack, which will have... Really? You're raiding our territory now. Alright, I'm going to stab your face. Or this guy is anyway. His Dubar will do that, but he will do it next time. Alright, I think we're out of time, and I'm going to have to call this episode here. Ooh, I wonder if you can take Talash with what you've got. Probably not. We do have Blood and Fireborn. Yeah, with Blood and Fireborn, they're going to have a difficult time using their basic garbage to take our settlements. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to call it here next time. We completely wipe out the Awakened. Khorne is gone, so with the Awakened gone next turn, it'll be only the accursed troop of Slaanesh that we still have to deal with. Otherwise, we'll also probably kill off that little Beastman herd and start building up some money to counteract the income losses. I'm not entirely sure... Okay, so we get 1.1k from raiding reduction, but I don't know why otherwise it went so negative. The only thing we added was the Granite Guard. It's okay, though. A few gold panners, or whatever this structure is gonna... Gold refinery, is going to counteract it nicely, and especially now that we're getting more outposts on the way, and we may want to spend some gold to upgrade a few more of these territories in order to get more outposts and thereby more raw materials. Anyway, more Chaos Dwarfs to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm approaching that mine of the bearded skulls, and thanks for watching.